I'm Dutch, and let's react to the Americans. Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Johan, and I'm a typical Dutchman. And if you're planning to come over to Europe for your holidays, or maybe to live here permanently, or if you're wondering why is everything so expensive in the United States in comparison with Europe, then you're at the right channel. Because in this channel I look at and react to videos about life and living in America versus life and living in Europe. And for today we're going to take a look at this video that was suggested to me by YouTube. You won't believe these 13 fixes Americans want. You won't believe. First, I need to know what those fixes are. But this has to do with what do Americans think that there should be fixed in their nation. And in comparison, that should be, in general, the program that politicians should run with. Because if these are the 13 best fixes that there should be done, then as a politician you would get the most votes if you're actually going to work on these fixes. So yeah, let's take a look at what it is, and let's take a look at from the outside in, because this is Dutch Eyes on America. So we want to take a look at, if I look to it from inside Europe to America, how is this really something that's gonna change to my point of view? And if you like this kind of videos and reaction videos, then consider to subscribe to my channel. It would be really appreciated. We're still getting up to the first 1,000, the magical 1,000. So if you want to subscribe, please do so. And now, without further ado, let's take a look at what these 13 fixes are that Americans want.
Americans want some things fixed. In a poll I ran and on a community post, I asked, what 2 things would you fix about the United States? 13.
So it's a poll that he ran and a community post. Now, is the question, how many people responded to that poll, and how relevant, no, not how relevant, how representative, how representatives are those votes, those opinions. Because if only, let's say, 1,000 people reacts from one state, you cannot say that this is representative for the entire United States. So you need to have reactions from all 50 states, and at least from all 50 states, several 100,000 people reaction. So how large was the response? Otherwise, it's nice to know, but it's not valid. But let's take a look. I'm already criticizing without even seeing, but yeah, you run a poll and
13 of the answers were overwhelmingly popular. And that's what we're looking at today. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look.
Number 13, racism. Racism should be fixed in the United States, and that's number 13. Except for the topic, racism, that this is number 13 means that there are 12 other topics that are more important than fixing racism. I had expected that this one would be more up in the list and not on number 13.
Number 13, racism. Yes, racism is still a problem here in the United States, in case you were under some illusion that it's gone away. I know that.
No, I am not have that illusion, and I think that a lot of Americans also know that racism is still a thing.
There's new talking points that come out every single week that equate to, I'm not the racist, you're the racist. These are just talking points, but racism's been around since forever. Sadly, it always will be around, but a lot of people feel if they had a magic wand, they would get rid of it and it would solve a lot of our problems. I think it would. The real argument these days is racism worse now than it was, let's say, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. How do you judge it? Anyone that says it's worse or better, they're just stating their opinion. You could try and look at, let's say, the amount of hate crimes going on. Well, that really doesn't equate to, let's say, 50 years ago, because in a lot of cases, they didn't even report them or they weren't considered a hate crime. There was almost 11,000 votes in total. And
11,000 votes. 221 choose for racism in this category. So with 221 votes out of 11,000, I'm sure that Americans, my subscribers, or other Americans watching this video and think 11,000? That's a block. That's representative for the entire United States, 11,000. Okay, and then 221 in comparison with 11,000, this is low.
221 of them said racism.
Political friction.
Number 12, political friction. Yes, this is the blue state versus the red state nonsense that we have to deal with on a regular basis. When I asked this question in the community tab, there's a whole bunch of people that just said, get rid of the Democrats, get rid of the Republicans. If you're under the impression one party is better than the other, you're kind of naive. Everyone likes to jump on there and say how bad one party is. Or let's just take, they'll say that the Democrat-run states are the worst. Well, yes, they tend to have more crime, they tend to have more homeless, and they tax the hell out of people. But the Republican states also don't make nearly as much money as the Democrat states go, and there's a lot more poverty in a majority of the Republican states. So my point is, both parties suck. Once we realize that, we'll get along a lot better. I just don't think people realize that the politicians are purposely pushing our buttons so we're at each other's throats all the time.
This polarization of both political sides of the aisle, as I hear it often. Yeah, it's getting harder and harder. It's more aggressive one party supporters to other party supporters. It's not a good sign. It's not. It's not even what I think that should be doing. In my opinion, you should break up this two-party system and go on to a multi-party system so that there is more discussion within the Democrats' parties and more discussion within the Republican parties, and somehow they need to work together to get something done. It's not, in my opinion, the best way to have a two-party system that's in the way that it's now being done lately in the last couple of years. No matter which administration, Biden or Trump, it's getting worse and worse and worse.
That's how people get elected. Both parties. They're basically telling you the other party is the problem and I'm the solution. Vote for me. If they were honest, they would say, all us politicians are the problems. Maybe, we could figure something else out. If you haven't noticed the political friction in this country, congratulations, you're living a better life than most of us. Just look at the comment section of any video on my channel and just read. I guarantee you can't go more than 10 comments without running into something that's political. I could make a video about the best place to get donuts in any city, and I promise you, someone would blame it on the Democrats or the Republicans, that they don't have enough donut shops or something weird like that. 244 people out of almost 11,000 picked political friction.
Okay, political friction. Affordable quality education at number 11. Yeah, I support this, but if I'm thinking because this versus doing something about racism and doing something about the political friction, then it amazes me that these two are higher on the list as we need to do something about it than racism.
Number 11, affordable quality education. So this goes right into what we're seeing in the news all the time, the cost of college, the cost of universities, even trade schools. They're far more expensive than they were when I was going to college. And if you're over 60, chances are your college was dirt cheap when you went, compared to what we have going on today. We have some great universities in this country that are dealing out life-changing diplomas. The downside is it's terribly expensive, and most of the students are going there for 4 years of partying and coming out with a bill that will take them 10 to 20 years to pay off. Now,
Yeah, no matter which university you go. And in comparison with Europe, some European countries have, I will not say free because I need to be careful about that, but with lower costs, way lower costs than the cost that you have in the United States. And you can say you can go in Europe to a full educational stages, all educational stages from age 12 up to 2022 for the same price as that you have in the United States for the tuition of one academy year. So that's the great difference. And over here in the Netherlands, it's even so that if you are successful and you get your diploma, then at the end, if not all of it, but at the end, you get your loan as a gift, so you don't need to pay it back. So there's an incentive to actually graduate, because if you don't graduate, then you have to pay back your loan. Do you graduate, then you don't need to pay back your loan. So, yeah.
we have all the student loan forgiveness garbage going on in the news. People are at each other's throats for that too. Now, I understand if you're going to a private university, it should be expensive. It's a private school, I'm sure they get some tax dollars, but nothing near what a state school does. State schools are a little more affordable, but they're still too expensive. 253 people picked affordable education.
Better wages. Yeah. Against racism, I understand. Yeah, that's for everybody.
Number
better wages or better minimum wage. Yeah, better wages, I guess, in general.
10, better wages. Who hasn't wanted better wages in their life?
Yeah.
People work for companies, and companies try and lower wages. Just about any company on the planet that has more than like 2 employees, their biggest expense is probably going to be payroll. The lower they can get the payroll down to, the better the company is, the more money the shareholders and the executives make with bonuses or whatever. So
every company on the planet, it's a bit rough to say that every company on the planet. Now, some companies actually have a non-profit values, as in we have our employees and they get fair pay, and we don't strive to get a bigger paycheck or a bigger bottom line because of our shareholders, because they don't have shareholders. It's only the shareholder companies that actually have shares too. Those are usually the things that, whatever we can do. But over here in Europe, you cannot do this. It's a minimum. It's by law protected. And by law also assigned what the wages should be. So it's only in the United States of America that this happens. Not all over the world, unless you think that America is the entire world. Okay.
Are highly motivated to lower wages. They don't lower wages, they got problems. If you look at what's going on in California right now, they just raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour, which a lot of companies are closing down or leaving because of this. Now, I'm sure some will. Sadly, it's a lot of the smaller companies that will shut down. They just can't make it with that kind of money. But a lot of big corporations will be forced to do it because places like California, there's too much money there to be made. They may threaten, they may close a few underperforming
Yeah, it can also lower the taxes on money. It's the same. So why not? Hey?
stores, but in the end, large companies are going to stay in California. Wages have not kept up with inflation since the 1970s. The old days, minimum wage used to be something that you gave to high school kids that, I don't know, worked at a Dairy Queen 2 nights a week for 3 hours. Somewhere along the line, that became the starting point for kids, adults, and anyone else that had to flip a burger or sit at the rental desk at a video store back in the day. I don't have all the answers to this one. I'm sure everyone's got their opinion and their theory on how that should work out. But number 10 on this list was people want better wages. Matter of fact, 347 people voted for that one. Number 9, reduced food prices.
Yeah, of course. It's if it's not one, then it is the other. More wages or reduce food prices. It's both in. Yeah.
Since the pandemic, food prices have jumped up pretty drastically, so this one's on a lot of people's minds these days, and I've seen it. I go to the grocery store. Food prices are through the roof. Well, they used to blame it on supply chain thing, and then, different grocery outlets and restaurants have showed record profits recently. So they raised a lot of their prices and said it was supply chain due to the pandemic. Well, that's sort of been fixed now, and the prices are still high, and they're bringing in record profits. It also doesn't help we have fewer and fewer supermarkets these days. They're being gobbled up and, by bigger supermarkets. We used to have 10 we could choose from. Now we've got 3 in our, city or neighborhood, which means we have fewer choices, which means it's harder for the open market to fix things, fix prices. If you got 10 choices for a grocery store, they're going to compete for your dollar. When there's 3, there's not that much competition. 405 people said.
Yeah, okay. That's one way to look at it. My opinion is there is a lot of waste in the supermarkets. If you're coming over to the Netherlands or to Europe in general, you can find in the shelves different brands of the same stuff, but only, let's say, 3 or 4, maybe 5 different brands, and that's it. In the United States, you have for the same product 10 or 15 different brands, and then each brand has also different tastes or variations of tastes, and you cannot sell all those variations and all those different brands because people have their specific brand that they like. And if 10 people only buy brand A, B, and C, and brand D, E, and F is never bought, then at the end of the month, the brands D, E, and F you can throw in the trash can because nobody gonna buy it, but still the costs are there. You had to get into your shelf, people had to place it there, you had to buy it, etc., etc. So bring down the choice pro shelf. Less choice forces people to choose actually some brands, and that's it. Less price. You can drop the prices because there are less waste. There's less waste for a supermarket that they throw in the trash can. And if they have to throw it, then give it to the homeless people. Not after date, of course, but they can need it too. But it's all going in the trash cans, and those costs of buying the same brand that nobody's buying from the supplier, put it in the shelf, and then throw it away at the end of the month because it's out of date. Those costs are also calculated to the other brands, and people have to pay for that. So that's my opinion, besides the competition that he's talking about.
Reduced food prices.
Oh boy, that's a hot topic. Firearm laws. I'm not going to react to this because it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's it's too hot to shoot at.
Number 8, firearm laws. Now, this one, there's quite a jump in the number of people that voted for this, obviously. It's a hot button topic. There's new laws being passed, and the Supreme Court has a couple laws, and it looks like things are going to change when it comes to concealed carry or open carry firearm laws here in the United States. We're actually going to get more into this on the next one on this list. But as far as Americans go, half want more restrictive gun laws, while the other half wants to bring a machine gun to happy hour at the local bar.
Yeah, and that's together with we already talked about it, the politicians getting harder, Democrats versus Republicans. It's always a hot item. It will be a hot item as long as there is such a high polarization between the two parties.
But the gun laws, it's a tough one. I mean, it's in the Constitution that we have the right to bear arms, and there's an argument for, well, it says bear arms, not machine guns, not assault weapons. There's all these different arguments going back and forth, and everyone has their point of view how it should work out.
Yeah, my opinion, I know I wouldn't comment on it, but my opinion, you should change the law to you have the right to bear arms when there is a statewide emergency, or you have the right to bear arms when there is an invasion of, I don't know, Martians. You have the right to bear arms when it is absolutely necessity for protection of your people inside, like it used to be when there was a colony time. At that point, the Second Amendment, the Constitution had this brought on so that militia could protect their state in case of that there was a war. That was the original one, the right to bear arms, to protect themselves or to protect with a militia the entire state. And that should be the one that is in the Second Amendment. Then there is no more discussion. The right of arms, the right to bear arms is still there, but you can only wear your arms when it's absolutely necessity for protection of yourself and your state to a foreign invader. That last part is important, because I need to protect myself always. No, only to protect yourself against a foreign invader. Then the problem is solved. My 2 cents.
What's the proper answer? Who knows? Something's got to change. 721 people voted to fix the firearm laws.
Fixed biased media. Again, this has a higher rating than racism.
Number 7, fix the biased media. Back in the day, the news just reported the facts and what was happening. They used to have this fairness doctrine thing, which the FCC, or Federal Communications Commission, introduced in 1949. This policy required that holders of broadcast licenses present controversial issues of public importance in a manner that fairly reflected differing viewpoints. But in 1987, the FCC abolished the fairness doctrine, which
after large lobbying of a lot of broadcast companies who brought in a lot of money. And then again, money dictates how it goes in politics and also in media, of course.
Which mutated a lot of our news media. They decided to lean left, lean right, and be as biased as they wanted to be. They do things that you might not notice, but I just did one when we were talking about firearms. I said that one side wants more restrictive gun laws, while the other side wants to bring machine guns to happy hour. Now, I said that for a reason. I was just joking. I'm sure someone wants to bring a machine gun to a happy hour, but it's not really an issue. I just said that to stir an emotion, and I promise you some people have left a comment already. Which brings us to today's sponsor.
Yeah, okay. To today's sponsor that I got to skip.
Ground was Lance World with practices. It's been clean left topic and a little bit different. Almost like Supreme Court AC and Rifles will refer focus on the /Briggs to give it a try. If you sign up through my link, you'll get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use to get unlimited access to all the.
if you want to use Ground News, that is an independent source, then yeah, you should use his link with Briggs.
Features. I think Ground News is doing important work, and I hope you'll check them out. 803 people would use that magic wand to fix the biased media.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people nowadays go on YouTube and go to, for example, British broadcasters to find out what's actually going on in the world, like Sky News and a lot of other DW from Germany. And there are a lot of news outlets from Europe who actually presents the facts as it should be, instead of Fox versus NBC or ABC or whatever acronym. Yeah. Oh, no more drugs. Number 6.
Number 6, no more drugs. Yes, a lot of people would just use that magic wand to eliminate all drugs that I imagine are recreational. I should have been more specific, but I doubt many people want to use a magic wand to get rid of, let's say, penicillin or chemotherapy type drugs. They're talking about the illegal drugs, fentanyl, opioids, whatever. Drugs have been a problem in this country since, I would say, the 1940s. Prior to that, it was a real problem with alcohol. But the late 1940s, as people were coming back from war, and then into the 1960s is when it really blew up. We've always had a drug problem in the United States. And one of our biggest problems with that is there's plenty of people in other countries willing to supply us with them. There's no supply chain problem there. Fentanyl is the drug that's on the news all the time now. It's killing a lot of people, and I can't wait till they finally fix that problem.
Yeah. And how do they gonna fix it is my question, because I think that a lot of recreational drugs are used for exactly that word, recreational, because people working 60 hours a week don't have any spare time at all. And if they do and don't respond in their spare time to a certain email, then they get fired. They get sacked. They can leave. They have no pay, and so they are stressed all the time. And the only way to get your emotions under control and to really relax in the 6 hours sleep that you have because you go to your next shift or to your next job to pay for all the other stuff you need to pay for, then people take some recreational drugs. So it's the combination of the quality of life and all the stuff that's getting more and more expensive that people need to do, either drinking, like they drink within an hour so much that they are numb within a couple of hours, or even worse, take some recreational drugs just to get the brain down so that they can recharge for the next shift of 12 hours work and 80 hours in a week. Yeah, it's the combination.
812 people voted.
Again, my 2 cents looking from the outside in. Because I would not say that we don't have a drugs problem over here in especially the Netherlands, because we have more lenient about using drugs. It's not illegal, it's legal, not all of them, but some recreational drugs are legal over here. But because people don't work 80 hours a week and have a better work-life balance, then they don't need to do this kind of stuff to relax, because there is a better work-life balance. Quality of life in the United States is one of the reasons that a lot of people using drugs.
To fix the drug problems in America.
Whoa, where is this coming from? And child trafficking. Okay. Yeah, in comparison with racism, this one is higher up, yeah.
Number 5, end child trafficking. Yeah, this is a major problem. My only surprise here is it came in at number 5. This is usually top of my list when I think of some of the most horrific things going on in this country. It happens in other countries too. We're not the only ones with this problem here, but I think maybe because I'm a father, I'm a grandfather now, that this scares me to death. 836 people voted to use their magic wand to eliminate child trafficking. We're going to change that to 837 because that's where my vote's going.
Okay. No homelessness and poverty. Yeah.
Number 4, no more homeless and no more poverty. Yep, totally makes sense. This would fix a lot of the problems in this country.
Yeah. That would. It really would. It really would fix a lot of problems. It's not that we don't have those kind of problems. If you go to the bigger cities over here in Europe, in Amsterdam, in Paris, in Milan, doesn't matter which large country you go, in the bigger cities, there are always people begging for money, and they are homeless or at least very, very poor. It's everywhere. It's a worldwide. Be careful. It's a great problem in the Western civilizations. Yeah, in other nations, it's a problem by default. Everyone is poor, and a lot of people don't have houses. So, yeah, but this is even for on our side of the pond with all our social programs protecting and picking up this kind of poverty and working on it, it still is a problem. And it would solve a lot of problems, yeah.
Let's say the cities are like an ecosystem, like the Amazon rainforest. If you eliminate something from the Amazon rainforest, it's going to affect other things. It's like this circle that goes around and around and around. Insects eat plants, lizards and snakes eat insects, birds eat lizards and snakes, mammals eat the birds, and if you take one out of there, there's a problem. Well, it works in a positive way too. If you were to eliminate the homeless and poverty in a city, that would increase the economic growth of a city. The city would have safer streets, more businesses would move to the city, more jobs would be created in the city, which would eliminate even more poverty, or at least lower incomes. As everyone starts working, things get better. But
Yeah, okay. I agree. Totally. No further advice for me. Yeah, I agree.
Can't seem to fix it. Now, there's one side of the coin that says, yeah, we have too many billionaires and they're not sharing the money. There's not enough money to go around.
No, there's not enough money to go around. Yeah, we have too many billionaires. Okay. But, yeah, I don't think, for once, I say it's not the problem of the billionaires. The problem is that the government has no sufficient plans and funds and ideas and actions and laws, etc., to solve this problem with the money that they get from ridiculous low taxes from those billionaires. That's the problem.
That's actually a very interesting theory. The guy that they based the movie Wall Street on, Asher Edelman, he brought it up, and it was really interesting, talking about how, I'm going to really dumb it down here, but if, let's say you have 20 people at a table with $100 bills, every round they just keep handing the dollars to the next person to the right. They pass, like, let's say 10 or 20, one person takes an extra dollar out. Now there's one less dollar in circulation. They keep doing this, and that's what a billionaire does, keeps taking more money out of the pool, and finally you got 19 people passing around $5. There is so much more that goes into that one. I would suggest you do a little reading on it. It's very...
Yeah, I get the idea what he's talking about, but I don't think that is the problem. What's over here what's the problem is in the United States.
Interesting. 855 people would use their magic wand to fix homelessness and poverty.
Yeah, that's the one that could fix homelessness and poverty.
Number 3, lower taxes and lower government spending. Yeah, this is a big one. We've been complaining about this since forever. Quit spending our money and quit asking us for more. Now, one side of the argument.
Yeah, quit spending money on defense contractors who are getting richer and richer every year, and spend more money on fighting against homelessness and poverty.
Argument says we need to put more into taxes so we can make our society better. While the other side says you've taken too much money already, so start spending our money a little bit smarter. One of the biggest problems is waste. Just the other day.
Now, I would say both are right. Less taxes and spend those taxes smarter. Yeah.
I saw a congressman talking to some defense contractor. I don't know who it was, Northrop, Boeing, whatever. He held up a bag of washers, I think it was, and he explained what goes into making these washers. There was nothing special about the metal. There was nothing special about how they were made. He said anyone could run the machine to make these washers. And he said they can make this entire bag, and he held up the bag because they can make this entire bag in under 20 minutes. I forget the number he gave, but he said, I can get all these washers for under $10. And then he dropped the bomb on them. Why is whatever company it was charging us $90,000 for this bag? The executive was like, yeah,
we have to pay tax and we have to keep the company, the fabric warm, the construction yard warm. We have to pay our employees. We have ground that we have to maintain. We have building maintenance. We have, we know it.
A whole lot of that. He had no answer.
No, they have to pay their executives and their shareholders their EPS.
Forget, back in the 80s, they had spent all kinds of money on a pen, like an ink pen, that they could use in space on the space shuttle or the International Space Station or something like that. They're spending all this money because I guess if there's no gravity, the ink doesn't flow right. And so they're putting all this effort into it, and they're spending millions of dollars. And at the time, we were...
For a pen? If there isn't... For a pen? Grab a pencil. It's graphite. It's writing everywhere, and it doesn't matter if it's. You could mark this, and it's graphite. It's sticking to everything that you touch it. So, wow. Oh boy, wasting money.
We're sharing the international space thing with the Russians, and the Russians were like, "Why don't you just use pencils like we do?" Side.
Oh, the Russians already suggested that.
Note, I just looked it up. If you type in $90,000 for washers or bushings, you'll see it. It says U.S. Air Force pays $90,000 for bag of bushings. It's from a month ago. I will tell you right now, if you watch it and you're an American taxpayer, you're going to be angry.
Yeah, I do not know. And I have to tread carefully here, because I do not know how much are the people get paid who are in the government, not the actual people at the departments who are doing the job, their administration, whatever, delivering mail and set. No, the people who are actually sitting in the Congress talking to other people. How much do they get paid? And what would it take if they got less payment? I don't know how much they gave, but for instance, give them $100 a month less for each of them in the entire government who is a politician, not working at a department. All the politicians, $100 a month less. I think you have a political revolution on your hand if you touch that money. There should be also a max on what people get paid by the government, working for the government, doing not the actual work, but discussing with each other and throwing insults over and along the aisle. Yeah.
969 people voted to fix our tax problems and our spending.
Affordable housing is number 2. Yeah, then I already can guess what would be number 1. It's the other affordable. We have affordable prices in the supermarket, affordable housing, and the third one is healthcare. It's affordable healthcare. I guarantee you, number 1 is affordable healthcare.
Number 2, affordable housing. Now, this one kind of leans into the whole poverty and the homeless situation, but there's another element to it that I thought I'd bring up. Certain states are starting to limit how many homes big corporations can buy. One of the problems with our housing shortage we're having is these giant investment firms and corporations are buying homes. As soon
Okay, that's a new one for me. I'm learning. That's a new one for me. So they buy up. Usually, when you see this in movies or TV shows, they buy up houses to tear it down and build new houses on it they can sell. So, but they only buy it up, and
as soon as they come on the market, they're buying as many as they can get because they're running a rental thing. Some of these companies own tens of thousands of homes and they're just renting them out to people, which...
Oh, they're renting them out. Yeah, instead of buying them up and tearing them down, what you usually see in the backyard cities, as in this is not worth the living. Those houses are non-restorable, so we tear them down and we're gonna build a brand new skyscraper with 200 or 300 apartments, and you gotta now. This is another side of the story that I did not know.
Means fewer homes for people to actually buy and become a homeowner. They want you to be renters. They don't want you to be homeowners. Now, some of the states are now starting to limit it. I know Texas was talking about it a couple months back, and I know California is now talking about it. And I've heard...
Yeah, but if you be somebody who rent out houses, then you are also responsible for how the house looks, how if there's a problem on the outside, they need to paint it, they need to fix the roof if there's a problem, they need to fix, are those rules there also in place? Because if you have those rules also, then it would be less attractive for those big companies to do this, because they are responsible for everything that has connection to the actual house, not the interior. The interior is for the renter, but the one who's, I don't know, is it the rentee or the renter? But the one who's renting the home is responsible for everything inside the house, and the one who is renting, again, I don't know the real word for it, but the one who's offering the house needs to take care of the outside of the house, to do, in this case, the painting of the windows, and if there's a problem with the roof, a new roof on it, and glass, and plumbing, and it's all the responsibility of the one who's, I think that would be some deterrent that people won't buy up that much houses, because they need to fix them up first before they can put it on the renting market.
Heard they're thinking about doing it in Oregon, where no company can own like 10,000 homes as rentals, something like that. And there's also laws that people are...
Yeah, but laws can be circumvented in this way. You get a sub firm or a daughter firm from the mother firm, and the daughter's firm, mother firm, I don't know. There are so many constructions possible in the United States that you can never connect that someone has reached the 10,000 max. Nah.
Are trying to get passed to stop foreign governments from buying American land. Now, that's just one of the many reasons we don't have much affordable housing, but I just thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
1,004 people voted to fix affordable housing problems here in the United States.
Yeah, and it won't be easy. I don't have a solution for that. I only said for the rental, I know, but how to fix this. We have the same problem over here in the Netherlands and in Europe in general. There is a housing problem all over the world. It is.
All right, before we get to number 1, if you don't know, we have another channel called The Sweet Life for Briggs. We'd love it if you went over there and subscribed. There's a link for that down below. All right, on to number 1.
Yeah, I knew this. Of course, affordable healthcare.
And number 1, affordable healthcare. Yeah, this one blew everyone out of the water. And this is one of the biggest complaints Americans have right now is our healthcare system is out of whack. It's not just the healthcare, it's the pharmaceutical companies. They play a part in this too. We don't need to get into all the details about healthcare in the United States. We all know it's a nightmare, and you could tell by how many people voted for this. One example of how things have changed, in the early 90s, I had my first child. 1994 to be exact. We came out of there after the birth with almost no bill. I think there was a couple $100 we had to pay. And we stayed there for like 2 days after the baby.
At that point, only a couple of $100. That's still a couple of $100 that you don't need to pay over here. It's...
Baby was born, and we, just make sure everything was okay, and we went home, everything was great. In 1996, I had my second child. Things had changed. They couldn't get us out of there quick enough. She had the baby in the morning. They wanted us out of the hospital by like 4 o'clock that afternoon. We talked to the nurse. We're all, what's the deal? And she said, the insurance companies keep calling us, asking us why people aren't out anymore. She says, you have the baby. They want you out of here within like 6 hours.
Excuse me? Oh my goodness. I'm not a dad. I'm not. But I have heard a lot of colleagues who actually did have kids, and especially my female colleagues. It is exhausting. You need to recover for at least 24 hours to feel a bit human again, to feel again a woman again. And then you can go and think about, okay, we need to go home and rest and rest and rest and eat. And within 6 hours?
They got to pay for your stay. So they are hounding us. Well,
they have to pay for your stay. Yeah, that's why it's called insurance. I pay for it that you can pay when it's necessary.
That law changed. I don't know if it's in every state. In California, they changed it. By the time my third son came around in the early 2000s, we stayed a little bit longer, but he had a medical problem. So when he was 5 weeks old, we were back in the hospital, and he stayed there for 2 weeks. He was allergic to all kinds of food. He grew out of it, so he's good now. He's 22 and healthy. We're
good.
They're about a week into it, so our bill was in the $300,000 by then. But the hospital came to us and said, your insurance company is denying this claim. They're not going to pay it. So
what?
We called the insurance company, and they said that the problem was he was 5 weeks old. We had to put him on the insurance within 4 weeks. Sorry, 5 weeks, he's not on the insurance. We're not covering it. And that was their attitude. So,
okay. Yeah. That's one more that I can mark down in my memory as another ridiculous story that I hear about how the healthcare system is broken in the United States. 300,000? I know that there are people who are taking a vacation to Europe, specifically Great Britain or so, because they speak English. That's the most easiest way to communicate. They take a vacation for 1 or 2 weeks. Then they visit the hospital, whatever it is. They have to pay I don't know, a small amount of the actual cost because I don't know what because they are foreigners, etc. But I don't even believe, because when you go into any hospital in the UK, you still are treated as so. Nothing happened there. Then they get out, pay, I don't know, a couple off, and then go back to the United States. And the total cost of 2 weeks hospital, 2 weeks hotel room for 2 persons, and the flight ticket is less than the entire action had to be done in the United States and be paid by. That's so strange. It's blowing my mind that people do this, and they do this the smart way, of course, and also they go to Mexico because the system is broken. It's not the prices. It just doesn't work. Over here in Europe or in the Netherlands, and I will keep it to the Netherlands because that's what I know for sure. In the Netherlands, you pay your insurance every month. Let's say, depending on what kind of your own risk, let's say you're out of pocket, pay will be. But if you pay, then you pay, let's say 150 to maybe, yeah, let's take it big. If you have the total package with all the luxuries and all the extras and everything you can think of, then you will be, I guess, around 200 to 225 euros every month. And then you have an out-of-pocket cost of maybe 350 euros a year. 350 euros a year. That's it. So if you have at your savings an amount of 350 euros, that's the only savings that you need for any kind of medical emergency in the Netherlands, or I will dare to say here in Europe. Those 350 are your out-of-pocket costs, once only, nothing else, no co-pay for the next 10,000 or so, no, 350 is your max, that's it, everything above the 350 is picked up, no questions asked, by your insurance company. It's how it works. That works. Not this kind of, yeah. Okay, affordable healthcare. I think that I talked about it enough. It's really a problem.
So she called her company. I won't get into it, but it's a big company. The HR lady freaked out on the insurance company because that was the company's policy, 8 weeks. Apparently, they ripped the insurance company a pretty good one because we got an apology with flowers from the insurance company. So,
an apology with flowers. That's all you get? And still a bill of what?
So insurance companies try and screw you any way they can with healthcare. The hospitals are just, they're doing good work, but they've got to deal with finance people and money issues, and nothing is getting people healthy anymore. It's money first, then we'll talk about fixing your problem. And people in the United States hate.
Yeah, that's money first. As we always, money first. Oh, are we the greatest and the best and the in the world? You
hate it and they want it fixed.
If you have money, yes, you do. Otherwise,
fixed. That's why it got 1,827 votes.
Yeah, out of 11,000. So, in comparison with 11,000 responders, it only got less than 2,000. All the numbers that I've seen all together of the last 13 aren't coming up to the 11,000. So only 1,800 out of 11,000 wants to see this healthcare problem fixed. I rest my case. That was it for today's. If you liked the video, then press like And if you want to see more of my videos, then this is a good one to start with. And otherwise, it would really appreciate it if you like this kind of videos, that you hit the subscribe button, because we're still getting up to the first 1,000 subscribers. So thank you in advance if you subscribe, and see you in the next video.